He said, I paid zero for Intel. It is worth approximately $11 billion. All goes to the USA. Why are stupid people unhappy with that? I will make deals like that for our country all day long. I will also help those companies that make such lucrative deals with the United States. I love seeing their stock price go up, making the USA richer and richer, more jobs for America. Who would not want to make deals like that? So I
love how he takes responsibility. Not we. Yeah. Even though this goes to the U.S., he's like, I paid zero for Intel.
He's a deal maker.
Which is true, by the way. He didn't pay anything.
He didn't. You did.
You did. It was taxpayer dollars.
Yes. There was, in fact.
Those seems like an easy deal to make.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Nate, I could make you some deals. Just give me some money.
Yeah. Actually, if you don't give me the money, I'm going to put you in prison. And then I'm going to use it to buy another company's stock. That's the kind of deal that was made here. And so there was, in fact, a little over $11 billion exchanged for these shares. And it was $11 billion of taxpayer money that was exchanged for these shares on behalf of the taxpayers against their will, without their say-so. So that was the first thing we had an issue with. To continue.
This is MAFA.
Yeah.
Make America fascist again.
It already was, so you can't do it again. And by the way, when we are inevitably going to use the word fascist in talking about this, we don't mean fascist like how the left uses fascist when they're talking about Trump, okay? They use it like this racist Hitler wants to exterminate a certain group of people, all that kind of stuff. That's not it. We're talking about economics here. And fascism is, in fact, an ideology that has a specific kind of economics behind it.
But you can say fascism, the economic system of fascism, sets up the power structure that leads to dictators like, I would say Mussolini's probably fits more in the fascist dictator realm than Hitler.
Yes.
Hitler was a mixture of fascism and socialism.
Yeah. It also fits very well with ironically, the Chinese Communist Party. We've said this before on the show. China's not communist. They're really not. They're way more fascist than they would be the definition of communism. They do allow private owners to own companies in China, but the government controls them. And has some ownership with them. So it's much closer to that. Here's Howard Lutnick saying, this is not socialism, this is capitalism, this Intel deal.
Right? The Biden administration had given $11 billion to Intel, given it to them. Done. Corporate just gift. And you turn that into really, it was like less than 5 minutes of conversation. And Intel agreed to give us 10% of their company, which of course was worth $11 billion. So it's not socialism. This is capitalism. If you give someone $11 billion, who's just building in America, they're not doing something special, they're building in America. And their CEO told the president he didn't need the grant. And you said, well, then why don't we get something for it?
Okay. This is capitalism, Charlie.
Yeah, these are the people in the government.
With capitalists like these, who needs socialists and fascists? That's what I would say. That really gets my blood boiling hearing someone say that, because, like, of course, you give someone $11 billion, you should obtain an ownership stake in that. But the problem with this is that how did you obtain the $11 billion to give to them? You stole it from people under the threat of imprisonment, and you gave it to them. Do you think there's going to be more or less of this happening after so many people on the left have already been in favor of doing this? So many people on the right are all of a sudden in favor of doing this. And so how many more times are we going to do this? Probably a lot more times. Where are they going to get the money to do this? They're going to take it from you and do this.
And by the way, this is in line with the modern monetary theory, which is it's fine for the government to print money because they're going to invest it. Mm-hmm. And you get a return on that investment, so the debt doesn't really matter. It cancels out, and plus you're going to get a return on it. So why not print the money? And if we're going to go down this route, let's do it. Everybody gets $1 billion.
That does actually.
You get $1 billion and you get $1 billion and everybody gets. We'll just keep printing money. We'll make sure the government invests enough of that money printing to where we get a return somehow, and everybody will be fine.
Yeah, and of course, what's going to happen here is if things don't go well for Intel, they're going to keep giving them more and more money. But you make a good observation there with the modern monetary theory. Kind of reminded me that the $11 billion we gave them, we took out a loan to give them that $11 billion. I wouldn't recommend anyone takes out a loan and goes and buys some stock in a company. And that is what they did. We are paying interest on it. So we've actually got to make more money off of that investment into Intel, which has not been doing very well, which is that this is actually a bailout because Intel's been doing really terribly. While like all the chip stocks, the whole chip sector has been at all-time highs, Intel's just been not going anywhere at all because it sucks. And so it's a perfect company for the government to be involved with. It's just it's already government, just right off the bat. The last part of this is that we had not given Intel that entire $11 billion. There was at least 5 or 6, but we had given them, paid out, like to them, $2.2 billion. The rest of it was allocated in or appropriated in the CHIPS Act. And then another $3 billion came from the Department of Defense, also under Biden. Don't know for sure whether or not that had actually been given to them yet. But this is something that could have been taken back in a rescissions package. You know that the time that we did a massive rescissions package, that $9 billion that they rescinded in funding, it's like half a day of funding that they rescinded. This could have been pulled back in a rescissions package. And so they're saying, well, Biden already gave this to them. Well, you could have taken it back if you wanted to. The problem here is that they didn't want to. And they don't want to say that. They want to have partial ownership of companies. It's not good.
No.
It's not a good thing. Okay. Let's get to, I'm going to skip past another thing I had here.